Not the State of the Union, ladies and gentlemen. The State of the Union response. Oh my goodness. I wish a Karen would. And she did. Here it is.
Meanwhile, the Chinese Communist Party is undercutting America's workers. China is buying up our farmland, spying on our military installations, and spreading propaganda through the likes of TikTok. You see, the CCP knows that if it conquers the minds of our next generation, it conquers America. And what does President Biden do? Well, he bans TikTok for government employees, but creates an account for his own campaign. Y'all, you can't make this stuff up. Look, we all recall when presidents faced national security threats with strength and resolve. That seems like ancient history. Right now, our commander-in-chief is not in command. The free world deserves better than a dithering and diminished leader. America deserves leaders who recognize that secure border.
Ma'am, well, calm down. Damn. It's just a response to the State of Union, ma'am. Put it up full mass. I gotta tell you, that's really scary as hell. I promise you, if you were on the other side of her in an argument to the police, you should just run. The way she is basically pretending, fabricating her outrage is quite evident. I will highlight the ways, but guess who loved it? Donald Trump. Trump loved it, every moment of it. Donald Trump praised the State of the Union Republican Party response. Who you just saw, Senator Katie Britt, Republican out of Alabama. And Trump may actually be alone in his opinion about her being great, with his fans on Truth Social pitching a fit about a kitchen talk that one GOP operative admitted was, quote, one of our biggest disasters ever. While X was flooded with comments, many comparing her deeply weird, that's a quote, speech to her Saturday Night Live skit, the former president seemed to be impressed. All right. So he makes a positive affirmation about her speech. And his own people are like, Trump, were you looking at the same speech I was looking at? Now I rolled with you up until you said something about this. So there's more. Truth Social. He wrote, quote, Katie Britt was a great contrast to an angry and obviously very disturbed president. She was compassionate and caring, especially concerning women and women's issues. Her conversation on migrant crime was powerful and insightful. Great job, Katie, end quote. Now, the mere fact that Donald Trump figured out a way to type all of those words without misspelling one of them gives you the impression he did not write it at all. The speed in which he responded shows it was already pre-typed. As a matter of fact, her speech was already written for her because she had no time to actually write a speech after the speech of Joe Biden. So typically what happens is they get an advanced copy of the actual State of the Union speech. The Republican handlers, they make the speech response and they simply hand it to the individual who must then make it their own. Well, Donald Trump received talking points as well. So all of this just kind of flows, okay? All right, supporters of the former president who responded to his post could not have disagreed more with one writing. Totally disagree. Didn't need a bedtime story. We should have called out the lies, which was misspelled, explained the BS bills, and hit hard that the border could have been closed by an executive order. Republican rebuttal sucked, end quote. It was actually pretty embarrassing. Her speech was okay, but her delivery was terrible, another added. The Truth Social commenter Maddie Fox fired back at Trump, writing, quote, I thought she was horrible. The effect was terrible. She sounded phony and insincere. Didn't know whether she was laughing or crying about inflation, the border. It was a ridiculous response. The Republicans will never learn. Give me a break, another says. She belongs reading books to children in a daycare. She was a terrible choice. Yawn. That was our grifter spy. And then MSNBC panel condemned Marjorie Taylor Greene. Here it is.
And I think there's a lot of reverence for her. A lot of friends in California really, really hate to see her leave Congress. She's a brave voice for the authentic left.
And there's MTG.
Well, interestingly, Matt Gaetz, Lauren Boebert, and now MTG have all had these pole positions on the aisle, which is, we all know you have to be there very early in the morning to get. I wonder if
she was clearly trying to do some confrontation thing with them. I'm not sure it worked.
You saw Representative Al Green there, and I believe he's the one who came off of his hospital bed to make sure that he was going to cast an important vote.
Claire McCaskill is still with us. Claire, is there...
Now taking a selfie, I love it.
I just have to ask you about the hat. Isn't there a rule?
Yeah, I'm really surprised that she is not being asked to remove that hat. It makes me think that Speaker Johnson is really afraid of her.
Because there's a rule. Are you saying there's a strict rule, no hats for any reason, and the floor of the House?
Especially a hat that is. I mean, I'm not aware of any time a hat is allowed on the floor of the Senate. Now, I am not as familiar with the House rules, but you could never wear a hat on the floor of the Senate.
Right.
So I'm not sure, other than if the Speaker just doesn't want to have the Sergeant at Arms tell her to remove it.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So we could talk about the Biden State of the Union as well. He highlighted some nuances of hypocrisy with the Republican Party. I think those were evident. He didn't do a bad job, but policy-wise, he has not hit a grand slam yet. There has to be some meat on the bone here. You cannot continue to say, I'm going to give you doggy treats. This is still not great. Now, did he blunder? Was it horrible? No, it was weird. It's the new standard for the State of the Union. It's a resume where you promote, highlight all of the would-be positives while basically ignoring the things that you're effing up. All right, Ben, thoughts?
I mean, so much to respond to there. The State of the Union decorum has just devolved so fast. Right. If you remember during Obama's first State of the Union, Joe Wilson shouted, "You lie." And it was the biggest national news to say one thing out loud to a president. Biden was heckled the entire speech. It was like me performing at the Improv. I mean, it was wild. But Biden did a great job coming back to those hecklers. He didn't misspeak. He went with it, even when going off script, which was a very dangerous moment for him to do that. And they acted as though they didn't want to cut Social Security. And he goes, "Oh no, that's what your plan was. Maybe I was wrong. Good to hear it. Good to know."
Yeah.
So he was rolling with it with some good humor. I thought that was good. There's a great clip of Marjorie Taylor Greene with the hat, and when Biden first sees it, he goes like this. Oh, his eyes fully bug out, which was a great moment. What a ridiculous, unserious, stunt creating idiot this person is. All she is a MAGA QAnon viral moment seeking disingenuous person. She should not be taken seriously. It's crazy that she's taken as seriously as she is. But with regards to the Republican response to the State of the Union, I have to say it was moving and very powerful. And the Chinese don't want us to say that, Doc, but it is the truth, and Biden can no longer avoid it. I mean, I had nightmares about it all night. It was the creepiest. She was like a MAGA bot. Was she AI? That was a false example of what a Republican woman could be. So they literally had her in a kitchen with emotions all over the map, up and down, angry, then sarcastic, then crying. It was the most insincere, put on, phony thing I've ever seen, which I think makes her the clear choice for Trump's vice presidential choice.
Clearly. All right, let's next week she will be all the way to the national spotlight, Fox News and everything. All right.